Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another match of the URC. This one, the Stormers at home, taking on Benetton. Now, this is a battle of the top 8. At the moment, Benetton, they found themselves in 6th just at this point in time, near the start of the round after the games that took place yesterday. The Stormers, I believe they are still in 8th, although recently we saw the Ospreys get themselves a win, so of course they boost up that little bit more. The draw for Edinburgh, so that keeps them just behind them. But this competition is heating up big time and coming right down to the wire when it comes to the top 8. But looking through at the starting lineup, first of all, for the Stormers side, not many changes compared to what we did see last week, and a phenomenal performance from Sasha Feinberg. Ngome Zulu helped them get over the line up against Connaught in what was an extremely close fixture there. Alistair Vermaak, Andre Hugo Finte at number 2, and also Sandy as the number 3. Moura alongside Van Heeren in the locking duo with De Villiers, Tennyson, and Evan Ruiz starting in as the number 8. Nkura as the starting 9 with Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu, like I mentioned. Damien Valinza in the midfield alongside Dan Duplessis. And then in the back 3, Lelion Zas, Sebonello Sinatla, and number 15, Warwick Hallant. Looking through at this Benetton starting side, and they too had their pretty decent performance in last week's contest. They were able to beat the Lions, which we did just see the Lions kind of control that game up against Connaught. But overall, I mean, there's 2 Canonis in the starting side. Mikel Lamaro also moves in to the starting team rather than making his way off the bench. Jacob Umangi, he played a brilliant performance up against the Lions with Alejandro Garbisi on his inside. Inacio Brex alongside Manoncello in the midfield. And then that power game of Odogwu, certainly one to watch out for, but he's matched up in this game with the speed of Sinatla. So that is just a recipe for entertainment. Hopefully that's what this game is going to be. Looking through at recent form, first of all for the Stormers, throughout March they had 3 matches. They were able to beat the Bulls at Loftus. They then beat the Scarlets away from home, but then they were defeated by Ulster, 38 points to 34. In their most recent game, they were able to beat another Irish side, and Connaught, 34 points to 29. That game went right down to the wire. Honestly, could have gone either way if it wasn't for a disallowed try at the end for Connaught for a bit of obstruction. We could have seen the side in green actually walk away with the victory there, but the Stormers, with the way that they started that game, they certainly did deserve to get that victory. As you can see, Benetton coming in as quite heavy underdogs with that $4.10. Compared to the Stormers, $1.20 for Benetton. Their recent games, they were able to beat the Lions, 42 points to 31. They were in control for that first half, although did let it slip a little bit throughout the second 40 minutes. Their game up against Castra went right down to the wire in the European Champions Cup, but they were defeated 39 points to 37. So, with that being said, ladies and gents, those are the way that the sides stack up. Those are their recent fixtures too. There's another game taking place at this very moment, or at least when this one kicks off. That will be the matchup between Leinster and also Scarlets. So we will be keeping you updated with who's winning that contest. Just saw Leinster semi-final next week is on Freeview. RTE 2 next week. And Munster, my team, will struggle to make the top 8. Says Patrick. And that's the thing. So many games now are, in my opinion, playoffs. Whoever wins this game, I believe still has a chance of being in the top 4. Whoever loses this game, I think, almost lose that opportunity. Now, of course, for the Stormers, they have a little bit more ground to make up than Benetton, but only that 1 extra point. And as you can see, there's that separation between Cardiff, who are sitting there on 46, and Benetton, who are sitting on 41. That's a pretty big gap to be able to catch up with. The Sharks at the moment, as you can see, a bit of clear separation between them and the Bulls. They will be playing a little bit later on, the Sharks up against Ulster, who also are trying to get into that top 8. Every game's a playoff match at this point, and that could lead to some very entertaining rugby, or at least we hope. I mean, if these games yesterday were anything to go by, the Bulls having a close game with Glasgow, Cardiff, close with Wales, with Munster, but getting over the line, and then, I mean, they don't get much closer than Edinburgh versus Zebre, that game finishing 25 to 25 at full time. Looking at the chat, I'll pipe in with Leinster score, have it on TV. Says Patrick, and let's hope the Stormers can contain Italy, even though they are least favourite South African team, says Albert, although coming in as one of the biggest favourites actually in this round, I believe, now that I think about it. So even if they are the least favourite, they are the favourites on the betting odds. and they are expected to do well in this game up against Benetton, although we have to remember Benetton are no easy beats. Good evening, says Jeremy, welcome in. Hey, let's get it, Stormers. Hello, Hamish, thank you once again, says a Blues Nate. And we are up to live stream number 5 of the day, so getting into our 5th kickoff. In fact, it could be 6th if you count the one that we did this morning of Glasgow versus the Bulls. There's been plenty of action, plenty of upsets along the way too, in terms of little moments that have caused quite big implications, including, a lot of cards, to be fair. We have seen throughout the matches we've been covering, or at least maybe some more cards could have been given. We've seen a lot of TMO interference already. Oh, and again, good evening, Hamish. And the goat Hamish with the 10. Says Blues Nate. And at there as well. But of course, do let me know your score predictions for this matchup, ladies and gentlemen. It is only around 4 minutes away from the kickoff. Then after this game, it is Sharks versus Ulster for the 6th live stream in a row. This game, I hope that it's better in many ways than that that Lions versus Connacht game. It sounds harsh, but it was far from free-flowing. We saw a lot of errors across the board from both sides. It was scrappy. There were a lot of scrums. And a lot of those scrums never really led to anything other than free kicks. We didn't see a huge amount of penalties awarded in that department. Stormers 40-25 of the Benetton side, and 32-26 for Benetton, and 38-10 to the Stormers. So it seems like that score between 30 and 40 for the victor is on the cards by those predictions. And by that logic, I would assume that also means a bonus point is on the cards too for whoever does win this game. There were a lot of injuries in the Lions game, unlucky, or a very physical Lions team. Bit of both. Like, the Lions were certainly putting in some big shots, but a lot of the time it was actually Connacht's own doing in terms of like going up for a high ball and hurting the knee or anything along those lines. So yeah, I do think that the slipperiness of the turf also didn't help with changing direction and knees going where they shouldn't have. Thanks so much, Hamish. I appreciate all your hard work to bring us the commentaries. Says Rhea, no worries at all. Somehow still wide awake, even though it is 4:10 a.m. We have been up for almost 24 hours. Not quite, about 22 hours at the moment, so we're still doing all right. Yeah, this matchup at Cape Town Stadium. Hopefully a decent crowd in attendance for this match. And yeah, hopefully we get to see a performance like we saw last week from Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu. That man had a hat-trick within the first half. The bounce of the ball was perfection for him. And also we saw a whole heap of perfect passing from his teammates just to get it straight to him and get him over the line for his tries. But looks like a lovely evening. Doesn't look like any rain from what I can see. Oh, okay. JD's going low scoring. He's gone 12 points to 10. So you're thinking more of a test match vibe. And at the end of the day, both of these sides, yes, bonus points would be great, but just getting the win might be the main, goal. So we could see some 3-pointers attempted early on and just taking their chances. I hope to see a great game from the Stormers. I hope so too. I hope that Benetton also show up and can play well. The sad thing for this Benetton side is sometimes they go in and they play outstandingly in their match prior and then they struggle the week after. But I hope that's not going to be the case here. And this matchup, we have got High from Loftus Bock. Welcome in. If I had to guess with a name like Loftus Bock, you're probably, are you a Bulls supporter? Or is it maybe just someone else in South Africa that you do go for? And Stormers 22 points to 17 is the prediction there. So a lot of close scores being predicted, and then every once in a while a runaway type of performance there too. I find it interesting though that Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu, after that performance that he had last week, doesn't find himself inside of the top 100 when it comes to the ranking with Sasha Feinberg. Can't be low scoring, says Albert. And yeah, he's the type of player that can either win them or lose them a game. And we saw it in that most recent game up against Benetton. He helped them win it by getting those early tries. I think it was the week prior to that, did have a bit of a shocker in the later stages of the match, and that was what ended up costing them. But some great players off the bench for both of these teams as they make their way out of the tunnel. Always wrong. We never know. Anything happens. Hamish, bonus for the Storm or Benny, or both. I would absolutely love to see both of these sides get the bonus point, just because that means we get 8 tries compared to that Lions-Connacht game where we got the 4, but it was extremely hard work to get live next to Loftus, but I'm a cheater, says Albert, and Snap says 1 Pierre Bosch. Yeah, Quampierre and also Lily are both going with that exact same scoreline. Pretty much simultaneously as well. So we have to see whether or not you both are correct. Stormers 35, Benetton 20, says Frank. We see the two sides doing a huddle, except they have shrunk by quite a bit, and it is the children who are doing the huddle for the kids round of the URC. They are all waving to the crowd as well before they make their way off the field, and the players make their way on. IPL cricket rained out between Kolkata Knight Riders and Kings Punjab. Says and hello, Benetton upset loading. Says Seb. And the Bulls, says Eric. Now, I didn't hear all of the results of the Harlequins game, Seb, but someone said there was a yellow and a red card and an injury, all taking place within a very short period of time. What was the end score in that one? And 33 points to 25 to the Stormers. And where is everyone watching the match? Says Anadomo. It depends on where you are in the world, but if you have got a VPN, you can actually set yourself to New Zealand and watch on TVNZ Plus, which would be completely free. They show all the South African games of the URC on here. So if that is an option, if you've got a VPN, or at least if you've got access to a free trial for one, would be a decent thing to get. Definitely with how close we are to the playoffs. Maybe if you wait a couple more weeks and then sign up for like a 3-month trial, you'll be able to watch those games as they happen. But Mikel Lamaro out there on the field in the starting lineup, rather than off the bench. The final score, it hurts too much to actually say it, Hamish. Okay, so it didn't go too well then, by the sounds of it. Miss Pretoria's flat land, or flat hard landscape and freezing cold. Says return a cool story, bro, on Premier Sports app for the UK. Says on the right, the Stormers, they will be focused in this match. They know that this game could be the difference between making it into the top 8 and missing out. And give a like, says Juan Bosch. And there as well, a lot of Stormers flags in the stands, and honestly a pretty decent turnout for this matchup taking place. So hopefully it lives up to the expectations for Limza and Sasha Feinberg Ngomaz Tulu, two men who I believe will be within that Springbok setup come July. As long as, and touch wood, they aren't injured. Unfortunately, we've seen a lot of injuries throughout the most recent weeks. So as sad as it is to say, there could be one here too. Pretoria next to Pretoria next to Loftus is definitely not flat or freezing cold, says Albert. And I called the Lions, Benetton and Ulster for the wins today. Okay, so you got one of them right so far, and you're going the two sides that aren't South African for the next two. Looks like Adam Jones, he is going to be the referee in charge of this matchup. Where to watch URC besides Super Sport, says Tabiso. If you've got a VPN, like I said, TVNZ Plus has it for free, and also some options in the UK are free to air, but you will need the VPN to be able to set yourself to the location to watch it. And Sasha's selling tickets, says on the right. And Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu ready to kick this one off for the Stormers versus a Benetton match. And straight away drop ball from the number 15, Leonardo Marin. And it means that the Stormers have got themselves an attacking chance here. It's the last thing that you want to be doing right at the start of a game when the crowd are behind them, is to give the possession away to the home side. Damien Willems are not quite able to go through, but that ball's going to be knocked on. And that's given me already PTSD from what we saw in the last game between the Lions and Connacht. We saw about 15 scrums. Alabok injured / playing. I think he had an injury a few weeks ago. And since then, I think they've just gone Sasha as the main starter for them. And they say the TMO can save the Stormers. Says Eric. More by the Farmlands. Says a return of Cool Story Bro. As Locke playing, he is not, no. So off the bench, they have got Herschel Yankees and also Hudson Berg as the number 23. And in the starting lineup, Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu is starting at number 10, and then number 12 is Damien Willemse. And that means that Wada Kalant gets that spot as the number 15. Ball about to be fed in for Alejandro Garbisi. They will go back to Jacob Umang, who did beautifully with the kicking tee, or just in kicking in general. That's now going to be knocked on by Benetton. A little bit of extra scrappiness from Evan Russ as he tried to pick it up, but they will now go back for the scrum in favour of the Stormers this time. And once again, this is what we saw all throughout that Lions versus Connacht match. Hopefully it's just a couple early nerves from the teams, and we are going to see a lot smoother play as this match does progress. We have still got another one just around the corner between the Sharks and Ulster that we will also be covering on the channel, ladies and gents. So anyone who is new, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And now Steven Nkura, he will be able to put this ball in, and this is where we will see more than likely the Stormers look to either go Ruiz off the back or you shift it way out wide to Sinatla. I think that those are your two best moves. Or Sasha might just try a little bit of individual brilliance in that 10 jersey. A solid scrum at the moment. And Nkura will use it. Goes across to Leleonzas. Now Nkura goes across to Evan Ruiz. Gets through one. Starts driving his legs. Moves to 10 metres out from the line. Nkura goes across to Salman Murat. De Villiers, he had a good game last week. Now I think about it, Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu changing direction, pops it up. Oh, that was almost the ankle of Marcel Tennyson there. Unfortunately, the ground does look a little bit rougher where they are standing at the moment. I'm not too sure what the reasoning is behind it, but yeah, looked like Tennyson may have done a little bit of an ankle tweak as he went. Sasha Feinberg gets the pass away to Sunday, and he will score the first try of the match for the Stormers. That is a brilliant start to the match for the home side. Timo is the right thing. Sometimes chicken everything spoils the game, so kind of a conundrum. What's your take? Yeah, I think that last game, Lions versus Connacht, any momentum the game was trying to build got straight away destroyed when the TMO got involved in 2 tries. And yes, they probably should have been disallowed, but, you know, in a game that was already struggling to find any sort of momentum, like that really did hurt it. No burger tonight? Don't think so, no. Sadly, didn't have a burger the other night either when we mentioned about it. Was that last night? I can't even remember when that was. It might have even been last week. It's the hand of God days in football. TMO has ruined my life. Says return. Oh, I've called story, bro. You think the Sharks get it, by the way? Hi. Says Aiden, welcome in. Is Lebok playing? Says Lusunda. He is not, no. So missing from this lineup. Now, I am curious. A lot of people are asking about if Marnie Lebok is playing. Is that like because you want him to be playing or you're hoping he's not in the lineup? Because it does seem to be a little bit 50-50 in that regard. And no burger says Sebastian, no burger whatsoever. Very sad. Just a bit of toast. A big question, when does TMO decide to interfere and when not? Just depends on their discretion, really. That one's going to be taken into the in-goal area. So it will be the goal line dropout now for the Stormers, who do sit 7-0 up after the kick was successful. And Scarlett's missed a penalty, says Sean, and we need a burger, says Sebastian. Burgers are good. I don't think I've got any of the ingredients to make one, though. Well, not a huge amount anyway. I've got cheese. That's probably about it. And now Jacob Umunga passes across now to Kanoni. This turf is looking pretty roughed up. Is this just due to the weather recently, or is that something that they've had on? I know that last year the pitch looked like that a while ago because of some monster truck event that they had in Cape Town. Has that happened again, perhaps? I see that the patterns on the field look like certain areas have died. That's going to be too far. And the kick from Benetton. And they'll go right back to the scrum. We have got the donation from Sebastian there. Cheese on toast is better than toast, says Albert. Well, I just had toast, unfortunately. Is Ruth still here, says Robert. She was a bit earlier on. I'm not sure if she is still at this point, though. And pizza first, burger second, steak is third. And hashtag bring back the hand of God, says return. Now, just showing the previous results. Benetton have actually won 2 of the last 3 up against the Stormers, although the Stormers did get a win 38 points to 22, and Benetton have been very consistent with 20 or 22 points throughout their matches. Where's the Fanta and chips? I haven't had a Fanta in like 3 months, which just sounds like an absolute crime, doesn't it? I got Sasha Sinatla and Evan Ruiz to score a try. 3 separate bets, says on the right. And also that stadium has had a problem with the turf since day 1, says Albert. So have they had an event or something recently, or is it just the pitch playing up? Can you give us your best Justin Marshall Boomfa on the next big tackle? Probably not, just because I feel like with it being forced, it won't sound as genuine. I do think we've got a Boomfa emoji. Maybe? We have a try emoji. Maybe the Boomfa one got taken away. But I think we did at one stage have a Boomfa emoji. How strict are the VAR in soccer? Better, worse, or the same as rugby? Offside, they get involved anyway because of, I think it's automatic now, the offside. But like football, they get involved normally just in the goal scoring. Sometimes we see the TMO getting involved for a knock-on or something that happens a bit earlier on. Now, what a Calant, kicking it in behind, ball swirling awkwardly. What a shot that is from Lelion Zas. Manages to smash Mirren over. It means that now there will be the potential opportunity. Can you see the super stickers, Hamish? Says Sebastian. I did see it pop up one moment. I didn't actually click on my other one. I know that through the software it just comes up saying super sticker. That's all the emoji says on the right. And there too, I assumed that it was a burger, if I had to guess, Sebastian. And the verdict is, yeah, look at that burger looking like a Krabby Patty. That one. Now line out throw. It's probably a reasonable question as to do with Krabby Patties and why they're not soggy, seeing as they're made under the sea. But now rolling ball, see a blue at the moment. And there's more for the Stormers as they get the ball out the back for Damien Valimza. And decent guess, says Sebastian. Oh, that's going to be knocked on, but they will go back for the penalty in favour of the Stormers. Right, this is a three-pointer if they want it. But I also do think the mindset might be kick for the corner and try and be aggressive. Stadium turf was relayed after hosting the British Irish Lions series. They have a lagoon under the sea. That is true. A lot of that show, I guess, doesn't make sense. Hamish, what's your favourite flavours or favourite soft drink? I'd probably still say a Fanta is right up there. I've had 3 Krabby Patties today, says Albert. I don't know whether or not that quite beats the fella yesterday, Bruce, who had 6 litres of yogurt in a day. That still sits in my brain. 6 litres of yogurt. I think it's just plain yogurt as well. Sasha Feinberg, Zulu. They are going to take the shot at the post, although this one has fallen off the tee. Still has 20 seconds worth of shot clock to be able to work with. 15 seconds. Referee keeping him updated. How's your cricket been? Cricket season has finished. Bit of a quiet season. I didn't actually play as much as I probably would have liked to. Had a few weekends where we actually ended up streaming rather than cricketing. So, yeah, we probably only played maybe 10 games if I'm lucky. Maybe even less than that. Maybe about 7. Might be why Bruce is MIA today. Yeah, because of all that yogurt. That amount of yogurt can't be good at once. He seems to think it lowered his cholesterol. I mean, on my mind as well, says Dallin. And then in the 24 eggs in one sitting. Now it's going to be kicked downfield from Damien Valimza. 6 litres of plain Greek yogurt, single-handedly saving Greece from bankruptcy. And lucky he isn't lactose intolerant. Yeah, he's almost, I guess, the opposite if you're having that much. But Damien Valimza, at the moment, he's ranked 25th in the overall standings. Am I mistaken, or is there 7s on somewhere or coming up? Next week, the LA 7s will be taking place. Halfway line here for Bernasconi to throw it in for Benetton. And yeah, we are going to be covering the LA 7s on the channel. It is going to be the championship stage as well as the playoff matches to see who gets demoted from the 7 circuit. Nice backline. Thomas Garshow goes across to Jacob Umung, and now Marin runs it straight at Sinatla. In fact, it was What a Calant who managed to get that tackle coming in off the fullback positioning. Garshow, oh, he is through again. Another tackle made by Halant, looking for the offload. Stormers slapping it back. Salman Murat has to jump onto it. And now loose ball turns into an opportunity for the Stormers. Damien Valimza kicks it down the middle of the field. Leonardo Marin is back to cover. We'll kick it into the Stormers 22. What a Calant, time to work with. And that is a beautiful kick. That is 22-22. Jacob Umung is saying, how about we go back? And the referee saying, how about no? It wasn't taken back. Now, just outside of Benetton's 22, when you do the maths, that's about what is that, like a 56 metre kick or something. Umaga, is that the family of the Umaga? Are you talking about the Umaga as in Tana Umaga or Umaga from WWE, Albert? Because he is related to one of those two, but not the other, I don't believe. Now rolling maul here for Benetton, just outside of their 22, kicked high from Alejandro Garbisi, and it's gone into touch, or at least it would have, but it is a knock on. In fact, no, they will go back to where it was. How about no? Says the Blues, Nate. A little bit of an early error there. Score still sitting 10-0. Favour of the Stormers. Chasing a bonus point from this game, I would think, would be the bare minimum. Never mind, I'll Google it. Says Albert. Is there any social media pages for the Kiwi lads? We have got an Instagram, which we very, very rarely use. Like, we haven't actually got... Like, we reply to messages on it, I will clarify, but we haven't posted anything. That is the link to the Kiwi lads Instagram for anyone who does want to follow it. But yeah, one day we will post on it. It's still got the old channel emoji too, or the old channel badge. So that's about 4 years old. All right, the advantage has now ended. Kicked into touch. Hamish, there's a debate going on. What's your favourite type of car wash? There's more than one type. What are the types? Like, as in, like, I know that the ones that you drive in and then it spins. Or like a hand wash, is it? I feel like, because I'm from a small town, I don't even think we have a car wash here. We used to, but then that building became a ATM area. Now back across to the right-hand side. Nkura searching for this one. Benetton have to be very careful not to concede early again here, or else could find themselves chased in the game. Big run from Marcel Tennyson. Nkura back into the pocket. Looks like a drop kick being attempted here by the Stormers. Got the height. And he's got the accuracy too, Sasha Feinberg. Ngome Zulu. Some bloke suggested chucking some washing up liquid on the car when it rains. It'd have to rain pretty heavy, wouldn't it? For that to be able to work. Like, I guess theoretically, if it was a good enough pour, it might. And notable relatives, Mike Umaga brother, Jerry Collins cousin, Jacob Umaga nephew, Peter Umaga Jensen nephew, Thomas Umaga Jensen nephew, and also two Umaga Jensen nephew. And that's impressive. Says Albert. He likes the milkshakes in the yard girls' car wash. Says Damo. Yeah, they certainly don't have any of those in the town I live in. I think the church did a car wash a while ago. But that was a bit different to the car washes you're imagining. Going to be kicked downfield from Watakaland. Oh, he manages to get it around. Jacob Umaga has to retreat a little bit more. Well, now kick it high. Marine chasing after it. Doesn't kill. He's tackled the man in the air. That could have been ugly. Sasha Feinberg, Ngube Zulu, I should say, sorry. Decides to take it quickly. Beautiful pass off to Dan Duplessis. And again, the Stormers will score. And that is how dangerous Ngome Zulu can be. Do you have the contact details, Damon? And Scarlet's leading leads to 10-0. Are they actually? Okay, they just want to make sure that the pass was legal. They actually are at the moment. I mean, he'll be a very happy man, Fleshin, until it happens. Where's the Scarlets on the logs? I believe they're about 9th at the moment, but we're going to see it there. So he's tackled in the air. Does Sasha get the tap? Okay, we didn't get to see the replay of it, but he looks both ways and then flicks it out the back with the no-look pass to Dan Duplessis and puts his foot down, and that is just a brilliant try yet again for the Stormers, who are lighting it up at the moment in this game. Our Scarlets, oh no, I read that one, didn't I? And Blues, good evening, all good. The wife got out of hospital and won 150 on football bets. Wait, so did your wife get out of hospital and win the money, or did she get out of hospital and you won 150 on football bets? I mean, that's impressive if the first thing she did when she got out was like, I have a hunch about a multi that I want to put together. And then she smashed it out the park. Okay, so Italy has no chance today, says Albert. And also we've got there, Hamish, who do you think is the most dangerous rugby player you wouldn't want to face one-on-one? All of them. I'm not exactly built for rugby. I'm built for sitting talking about it. How we have got there, Sasha Feinberg is the real deal for sure. No fluke, he's the truth. She got out yesterday and I won the football. Okay, so 2 separate things. But yeah, hopefully she's doing all right in that regard. And now nicely taken by Benetton, who are down 20-0 at the moment after 17 minutes. This has been quite the start to the match for the Stormers side. 150 watt. I assume that would be either euro or pound. More than likely. But now, another steal there for the Stormers round the halfway line. Big run forward from Andre Hugo Fent. Another beautiful pass. Nkura, all he has to do is score it. But he's reached out as that one movement. I think he's just short in the end. The Stormers should still be able to score this one. Finn from Emil van Heeren, he reaches out. Does put it over the try line, but they're going to go upstairs and check this one. Durant must be scary, thought to tackle him. And I might have to readjust that score prediction, says Juan. Definitely if they're going to continue scoring at this rate that they currently are. Okay, they just want to check to see whether or not Steven Nkura went for a second movement there. Now, personally, I think that he looked like he was tackled and then he kept on going, which I assume was just going to be, all right, does it cover the hospital bill? And watching from a Nalstrom in South Africa says, be it. Hopefully I've said that correctly. Do let me know if I've pronounced that wrong. It might actually be Betty, is it? It's the last 5 minutes who scored. So we did see the try for Dan Duplessis. And then the try before that was scored by, I think it was Sasha Feinberg, Zulu, wasn't it? Our hospital was covered by the father-in-law. And wow, my boys are back to default settings, 20 and under 20 minutes. Will Stormers reach 50 is the question. It certainly is. See, in that case, I'd say he almost doesn't help, but it looks like he might have knocked it on there, Steven Nkura. So I think this try is going to be disallowed. Stormers are on the verge of getting a bonus point already, the way that they're going. Is it me, or does this ref body language look very comic? Says Juan. I think he's a little bit, I guess, he's slightly stockier than some of the referees. So I don't know whether or not that has something to do with it, but he's Welsh by the sounds of it. Right, it's going to be a knock-on. So that's going to be no try. And because it is knocked on the goal line, I believe it now becomes a goal line dropout. Yeah. Let's get excited to see Mapimpi to score a hat-trick, says Aiden DV there. And also just B will do. Okay, I will remember that. And 32 points to 14 for Juan Pierre Bosch. And also, what do we need to do to get back into this? What are the odds as we speak? Odds are not good at this current point in time. Oh, Sasha's going to line up. No, he decides against another drop goal. For a second, thought it was the idea. Tried another flick pass. This time it doesn't pay off. But it came off a Benetton hand, so it does mean that the Stormers will have themselves the line out. But yeah, for Benetton, they just have to break this chain. At the moment, they find themselves giving the ball back to the Stormers, and the Stormers are just attacking every single time, and they're making plenty of meters while doing it. So one big turnover or something could be that difference maker. Now ready to throw it in, Salman Murat. Does claim it at line-out time. Back across to the right-hand side. There's going to be a penalty advantage for too late in terms of the drag down. Such a Feinberg, Ngomaz Zulu wrestled down. They will go back for another penalty. Go the Stormers, says John. A lucky woman she is. Stay blessed. He's up Blues Nate there too. And my friend just delivered some hearty veggie stew and cheese noodles. That's an interesting thing. Are the noodles made of cheese or are they cheese flavoured? Trying to think if I can remember. I know that you can have those like those hard noodles that you put in a salad. They can have cheese flavouring. I didn't catch the Moana draw game earlier. What was your opinion on it? Any exciting moments? Quite a few. Artie Savia scored probably the best try of the year that was disallowed because of a knock-on that happened 50 metres back. But Moana Pacifica getting themselves the victory, so now well and truly in the running for the top 6. Oh yeah, a little bit of a cheap shot there on Damien Valimza, which is what that penalty has come from. And now Zulu again will have the opportunity to line up the shot at the post, sitting 3 from 3 today. I've eaten some weird stuff, but that sounds too awful. Cheese flavoured surely, says Sebastian. And Stormers need full house of points, says John. And the kick is good from Zulu. That's now going to make the score 23 points to 0 after only 20 minutes. How's Rico's form? Still unable to convert? Yep. Sadly, he had that 1 week where he scored a try, and then the week after when he scored another. Other than that, we've hardly seen any of Rico Ioane's best, but he's going to Leinster, so hopefully he's able to sort it out for them. Scarlets 15-3 up. That's a great start to the match for the Scarlets. I know that, yes, Leinster have gone with a bit of a makeshift team, but they still would have gone into that game expecting to win it. Cheesy ramen is not that weird. Says Sebastian. Sasha at Eden Park will sure be a blockbuster. Says Fareed. Yeah, I hope he makes it there because the man has had his fair share of injuries. And it would be a massive shame to see, we've got to remember the Stormers, if they're in the top 8, they make it through to the semis, he could still be playing 4 or 5 more games. And the amount of injuries that we're seeing just recently, that was a bit high from Sinutla. Could end up being an advantage against the Stormers here. But yeah, the amount of injuries that we're seeing just recently makes me quite nervous for all of these key players for the sides. What happened to the Crusaders? They managed to get themselves the victory in their game up against the Highlanders. And 2 tries, says Patrick. And 61-12 Stormers to win, says Neville, is the score prediction. The question is, will Rassie start Sasha and have Pollard on the bench, or the other way around? I think at the moment he'd probably start Sasha just to have that consistency of Pollard at the end of a match. And they just want to do the damage early. Get those points on the board and then have him control the game later on, Pollard. Cross kick attempted from one Ignacio Brex, and that one's going to bounce into touch. Again, it just seems like the tactics here from Benetton aren't quite working out. Bulls will be champ, my husband says B. Yeah, they're currently finding some nice form at the moment, getting a big win over the Glasgow Warriors. Leinster try, 15 points to 10 to the Scarlets, says Patrick. One Ignacio Brex goes actually out on the full, I should mention, for that cross kick, which would have been quite a tough one for Ignacio Mendy to bring in. Ready to throw this ball in. It is Andre Hugo Fenta. I can't believe we're already 22 minutes through this matchup. A quarter of that Lions... Oh, referee almost got cleaned up there. Yeah, a quarter of that last match between Lions and Connacht actually felt like about 30 minutes, maybe 40, with the amount of scrums. That is a knock-on from Dan Duplessis, managing to offload it there on the ground, though, for Benetton. And now Ignacio Mendy, ball on the inside. This is where Benetton can be so dangerous. Jacob Umaga going for the kick in behind. And it's going to be a foot race taken back by Sinutla. No, it was Warwick Lant, in fact. I'm not sure what he was shouting to the ref about. I think he was trying to say that he grounded it. He's looking at the touch, judge. But it is going to be a 5-metre scrum now for the Stormers. Jacob Umaga with a nice kick in behind. Sasha Zinchunia, he's playing absolutely brilliantly at the moment. A little bit of a cheap shot there on Umaga. No arms from Sasha Feinberg and Ngumazulu. You've got to be careful doing that or you'll get yourself in a bit of trouble. It actually looks like he hurt himself more than he hurt Umaga too. We go there, true. 23-0 to the Stormers. 10 minutes ago was 7-0. But it is going to be the 5-metre scrum here for Benetton. Are you a bit of a celebrity in your small town then? Not really. I wouldn't say people know me because of the channel. They know me because it's a small town. But I did, one of my games of cricket that I was playing, one of the guys in the other team asked if I was the Kiwi lads. But not because of my face. He said that he recognised my voice from the Rugby 25 videos. So he didn't actually know what I looked like, but he recognised my voice, which is a bit unique. We ended up beating them in the end, and I ended up scoring runs right at the end of the game because I had to rush to try and finish the contest or finish the match so that I could drive home to do a live stream. So that was a bit of a busy day. Umaga's made a steal. Says Albin and Sasha shall start at Eden Park, and I feel the Bulls pack will dominate Springboks pack. Says Fareed. And now, chance of winning at the moment, 95% in favour of the Stormers, 2% chance of a draw, 3% for Benetton. Find themselves quite far back at this stage of the match, but it is a solid scrum there from the Stormers, and that was all but going to be their ball. Oh, but Benetton get themselves the penalty. I think they're probably a little bit lucky there. Stormers scrum have been penalised for wheeling. I think the only reason that they did wheel there was because Benetton weren't giving them a lot of pushback. Looks like they are actually going to go for the scrum again here, Benetton. If I was them, I probably would have just gone for the quick tap there. My best player, tackled hard, was Ronnie Clark. And it was a good time to start playing good footy right now because URC finals around the corner on forms. Says Blues Nate, and careful Sasha, no crazy hits, says Rufy. The last thing that he wants to do is get himself carded in this game. Got the Benetton of a doubt. Says Adamo. Trying a little pun there, I appreciate it. Now, another scrum to take place. Alejandro Garbisi will be the man to put this ball in. And I think Benetton are going to get themselves in a bit of trouble here. Okay, referee just saying that one team needs to move forward a little bit for Thomas Garshow and Sunday, who did actually score the first try. I realised I gave credit to Sasha Feinberg and Zulu, but it was actually Sunday who did cross that try line first. And 5-point difference between Scarlets and Leinster, says Sean. So yeah, currently a very competitive game. This one, not so much. But Benetton, if they score now, that can start that comeback. Referee sounds like he's just saying the calls in slow motion for the scrum, making sure that both teams behave. And that's gone down again, and the penalty this time will actually go the way of Benetton. And 15-10 to the Scarlets. Both these games are scoring games. But this one is one-sided, says Dallin. Yeah, it's pretty much gone two completely different types, hasn't it? In terms of one of these games has had tries, and also, I mean, we've had a bit of everything this contest. We've had a drop goal. Hey, it's Joseph Dweber. He's in the stands there. I'm not too sure who he was talking to. But the penalty did go the way of Benetton, who did decide to kick this one towards the corner. No, in fact, they called for the scrum again, my apologies. So they're taking a bit of a risk here. I still don't think that they're doing that well at scrum time. Like, yes, they've won that penalty. The one before that, I think they got a little bit lucky with. I remember that tackle from Yapi Mulder on John Alomu, and Just also had a good effort, says Albert. Now, ball about to be fed in by Alejandro Garbisi. Benetton have got a lot of men on that right-hand side, probably about 5. It's come in, and it's going to be a bit of an awkward one. Now the ball's there, and the advantage again goes the way of Benetton. Backline movement, Jacob Umaga thought about the offload for Marinin through the side from Hallant, and now time is off. This might be a bit of trouble. And how do you choose which matches to cover when there are a few playing at the same time? It's actually pretty easy when a South African side's playing, because that's the only game they show here in New Zealand. So if I wanted to cover, let's say for instance, if I wanted to do Leinster versus Scarlets compared to this one, that Leinster versus Scarlets game, just to be able to watch here in New Zealand, I'd have to get it through URC TV and probably pay, I think it's $15 just to watch it, whereas TVNZ have the South African games free to air. Plus, we've got a few more South African viewers, so it just does make sense to choose that one. But yeah, when two South African sides are playing at the same time, that's when it gets annoying, because of course we want to be able to cover all of them. However, this ref doesn't look like this ref looks like he does not miss the opportunity for seconds at mealtime, says Francois, yet still probably has a better 5K and all those sorts of numbers than probably at least 99% of us who are watching him ref. So that's the thing, you got to be bloody fit to be a ref, and no matter what your structure is, you know, you're running all day, every day when you're out there on the field. And go the Stormers. And also Leinster 10 versus 15 Scarlets, and French ladies 21-31 England ladies. Also, England have a little bit of a win there. Do you think Stormers going to win? I think so. And I did think that they were going to win before this 23-0 lead. But, yeah, Benetton, every once in a while they fire. This game doesn't seem to be one of them. That's another one where the scrums just got ugly. The good news about this one is rather than just resetting, this referee is giving some penalties, which is the big difference between that Lions and Connacht game and this one. So it at least keeps that game moving a little bit. Which Italian channel of service is showing this game? I actually have no idea, if I'm completely honest. And we have the evening Amish watching Ulster versus Sharks. We certainly are. We'll be covering it on the channel. It will be that will actually be the 6th game in a row that we are doing on the channel. So, yeah, certainly getting a few of them. Scarlets scored 3 tries, says Patrick. See, even if Scarlets were to lose that game, like, if they manage to get into a position of... Like, the thing is, if they even get a bonus point, like, that would still help them. Now, Benetton, they have won that scrum again. Rush defence from the Stormers. And a good early tackle made from Damien Valimza, and over the ball, Sinatla wins the penalty. The ref just turned the scrum into a bad show. And speaking of fitness, when do you start your fitness challenge? If I remember correctly, we have permission to drill you on it. That's true. I haven't started pre-season for cricket as of yet. So I'd say once the 7s is out of the way, because that's always the most brutal when it comes to the weekends and a few days beforehand. But yeah, I'd say before the July internationals, we'll certainly be looking at doing some sort of fitness activities. Looks like Valimza might have got a bit of a finger to the eyeball here. Might have been on the ground, and lets the team as like the D team only recognise 4 or 5 names. Says Albert, Sasha Feinberg, Ngame Zulu. Just kick that into Dutch. One of the commentators just saying one of the longest scrum sequences we have seen in quite some time. But at the end of it, they didn't concede. Benetton didn't score, and the Stormers have now got themselves the line out. So honestly, it didn't go too badly for them. Yes, it was probably 1 penalty away from them getting a yellow card. And as long as they can avoid a few of the scrums, they should be all right. You should try high rocks. I don't know what that is, Hilton. What is that? And Krypton Factor, says Damo. And now, Stephen Nkura kicking it downfield towards the halfway line. Good battle in the air. Brings Sinatla and a Dogwu who didn't knock the ball on. Now Sasha Feinberg Ngame Zulu looking for the cross kick. Stormers player just goes over the head of Lilian Zas. It was out on the full. And now we know why the Stormers' 5th tight head prop is 5th in line. Says Juan Pierre Bosch, although he did score a try Sunday, to be fair to him. But yeah, scrummaging at the moment isn't quite working as they would like. And it actually looks like number 12, Damien Valimza going off for an HIA. So it wasn't actually a poke to the eye per se, but it was just a head knock for Damien Valimza by the sounds of it. Hopefully he's going to be all right. I also do think that this might, like, of course he might end up failing it, but I also do think that might be an opportunity just to actually give his eye a proper clean out. Just because he's been dealing with, it looked like he was going like that after the breakdown. So maybe, interception thrown and nicely claimed by the Stormers. Dan Duplessis, the man who rushed up. You probably do know, young to know that TV show. Yeah. Unfortunately, in High Rocks is Crypto. I see. Now, Andre Hugo Fenta trying to bust through and almost does. Benetton allowing too many easy post-contact meters here for the Stormers. And now another run from Murat. Needed 3 defenders there for Benetton to be able to stop an Evan Roos. Normally takes at least a couple. Now popping it up, Sasha Feinberg and Zulu going straight into the hands of Warwick Land. Inside ball, back to Ngume Zulu. Look for the offload. Finds it to Hillamp. This is getting really scrappy here for the Stormers, but the structure has come back. Offloaded off to Sinatla, and he will reach out and score between the posts. We have there Damien Valimza has contact lenses, basically blind. Without it, poor guy. It's the best fitness race. It's overtaking CrossFit because it's the most accessible, says Hilton. And a Leinster try, says Patrick. in there as well, and good Stormers team, but Morat could be their Achilles heel, says Louis. Although he's been pretty strong throughout this game, had a couple big carries, good tackles made from Murat as well, and the line-out has looked relatively strong. So I don't think he's done too much wrong just in this game in particular. And 22 points to 15 conversion still to come. Says Patrick for that Scarlets versus Leinster game, whereas in this one we have got a very one-sided affair taking place between these two sides. Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu only has 10 seconds to kick this one over and does just that. 30-0 after 34 minutes. This game is flying by and they're still pretty much scoring at a point a minute for the home side. And that's the thing. Of course, for the URC, wins are important. The Bulls, at the moment, they have got themselves 12. So they are sitting the highest out of all the South African sides. The Sharks are on 10. The Stormers down on 7. So if they were to end up, let's say, for instance, on the same amount of wins as Cardiff at the end of this round, then their points differential would actually put them ahead. So if they do win this game, but of course they can't quite get up there, but you know what I'm saying, the points differential does normally come into its second. But yeah, for now, they could find themselves as high as 6th at the end of the round. Looks like Thomas Manoncello is getting a bit of medical attention here as well. There are plenty of injuries coming through these matches. At least there have been for today. It's a big score, says Albert. Scarlets 22-15 conversion missed. What do you think, or who do you think is currently the most criticised player in rugby? Honestly, like, Mani Libok's probably not far off it. In terms of the guy who gets the most, like, 50-50 reaction, he's up there. Selma Mora actually probably is relatively high too in terms of the Stormers and the Springboks setup. I'm trying to think of overseas players outside of South Africa. That's actually another injury which wasn't the original one. I think that is Favreto. Mora, Libok and Willie, says Albert. And Benetton certainly not going too great. They need to try about now. But yeah, looks like they are making the change. Reno Smith, he will make his way on. And then also, I think it will be Eli Sneyman who comes on for Favreto. Sharks, my team, MEC Spider-Meek, and they are going to be in action in only about an hour and 30 minutes time. We will be covering that game on the channel as well. So if you are new, anyone who is in the chat, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got plenty of games next week too. Champions Cup semi-finals. We've got the LA 7 Super Rugby all taking place. The Under 20 Rugby Championship we are also going to be covering on the channel. A nice slinging pass from Stephen Nkura. Now looking for the kick behind from Sasha Feinberg. Ngome Zulu wanted the 50-22. Isn't quite able to get it. 50-50 Stormers. Says Blues Nate. And Sasha, you are a thorn in their flesh. Says Rhea. And Ford in England gets a lot of hate. Says Albert, and dropping like flies. Says one Pierre Bosch. Now cross kick attempted from Warwick-Land. And once again touched by Benetton. I don't know why he's going to try and go for the throw there. Juan Inesio Brex. He clearly touched that ball. And it is the knock on against him. So it does mean that the scrum will be in favour of the Stormers. Now I'm quite curious to see how they go off a scrum of their own feet. Because when Benetton were putting that ball in, they seem to be struggling. But I actually don't think their scrum will go that badly. In fact, that first push we initially saw, I thought that they did actually win that first scrum. I've seen 6 handling errors from Benetton compared to the 3 of the Stormers. So 9 throughout the first 36 minutes. 3 tries scored by the Stormers too, which does mean that they are 1 away from a bonus point here. They are destroying Benetton's points differential at the moment. Benetton still have, at this current point in time, before this match anyway, 1 extra point than the Stormers, but I think that's going to change by the end of this match. Stephen Nkura. Now, Alt tries to feed the ball in, and the penalty goes the way of Benetton, and this is going to be a yellow card now for Sunday. He is not happy about it, but he has been just hugely frustrated in those scrums. Thomas Gachot Seems to be having a field day. That one's going to be kicked into touch. Pollard, most hated outside of South Africa because he has broken so many hearts in the last minutes with a kick. I don't know about Pollard in terms of being most hated. I would actually say that, like, for a lot of people, at least the ones that I have, like, come in contact with throughout the chat, a lot of people have respect for Pollard, no matter where they have been in the world. I do think that a few of those other guys, I mean, I saw that, of course, there was that controversy with Tom Curry. He was a guy who got a lot of stick for a while. In terms of New Zealand players, Sam Cane definitely was up there in terms of one who got criticised a lot. Same with Rieko Ioane. Oh, nice inside ball from Benetton. A yellow, did he croc roll? No, it was just in a scrum. And the penalty this time goes the way of the Stormers. In the breakdown, it was de Villiers. They thought about a quick tap there, but they'll decide against it in the end. Still another 9 minutes remaining of the yellow card. And it's going to be for not releasing halftime. Scarlets 22 points to 15. So a close game between those two sides and a high-scoring one at that. 37 points in total. Whereas in this game we could see 37, but not for both teams. Just for one. Scorched Almonds or Moro Bar, your call. I would probably go Scorched Almonds. Owen Farrell definitely up there, although I'm not sure whether or not we still count him as an active... Well, I guess he is still active in some regards, isn't he? But another one was Johnny Sexton, back a little bit further. Seems to be fly halves. People don't like fly halves, do they? I feel like they're kind of the ones who get the bad rap. Now nicely taken by Ruben van Heeren. But yeah, going back to the Scorched Almonds, I'd probably go to them. My dad would definitely say Moro. And Mirrors 10 says a Spider Mech, and that is going to be a knock on this time from the Stormers. So this is dangerous because now they have to bring a replacement onto the field to be able to compete in the scrums. Wise Leinster losing. They've gone with a very makeshift team in that contest, so definitely not their strongest side. But they still would have expected to at least win that game, so could be a bit of an interesting one. Brock Harris, he will make his way onto the field for de Villiers, who actually got the turnover only moments ago, but due to that yellow card, they do have to make that change. They have decided to do just that. Sandy still looking disappointed on the sideline. Only 30 seconds remaining in this first half. It has been going extremely quickly, as is Benetton's A team. I would say with the exception of a couple players out injured, it is pretty close to it. This is the same side that pushed the Lions and beat them last week, 42-31 or whatever the score was. But now, I don't know what's happened. This week they just haven't shown up. The only thing they've shown up for was scrums. But that won't win them this game when they're down by 30. One in Ashio breaks all tackle off the ball for a dog word. Kaboom, and couldn't quite link up. Found the offload to Alejandro Garbisi, but get him back there for the Stormers. And again, they've been able to clean it up. The siren is just about to sound. And Kura goes back into the pocket. Sasha kicks it dead. And that'll be halftime. 30 points to nil. One of the best starts we have seen from the Stormers in quite some time. Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu once again at his playmaking best. And already they are one try away from a bonus point where me Sharks on Hammy. They are playing at 6:35 a.m. New Zealand time. So in an hour 30 is when they will be playing their matchup. We will be covering that one on the channel as well. They are head-to-head with Ulster in that later fixture. So there'll probably be about a 40-minute break or so in between these two matches. Maybe a little bit shorter, maybe about 30 minutes. You look pretty sharp despite little sleep, Hamish. Says Louis. Yeah, I have no idea how I'm still relatively awake, but I wouldn't be surprised if by the Sharks Ulster game, I start to hit the decline. My eyes are a bit bloodshot, I do have to say. Definitely, like this one. This one looks way worse. Maybe because it's on the rugby side that I've been looking. This one, that's still white. That one is not really. I'll be back in 5 guys. Coffee time, says Spider Mick. And as well, thanks for the clarification. No worries at all. And cheers, Patrick. Thanks for the update on Scarlets versus Leinster, says Blues Nate. And also later on, we should mention that during that Sharks versus Ulster game, there is going to be no other matches taking place. That will be the last match of the round, which means at the end of that, we'll actually know relatively well who still has a chance making their way through. You need some Zen music for halftime to re-energize Does Zen music re-energize you, or would that might make me go to sleep? Bit of Zen music. We'd need a bit of AC/DC or something, or a bit of, who else is a rock band? They're honestly the only one I can think of. Guns N' Roses, that's another one who's about the same kind of era. They are just showing the highlights of the tries. There have been plenty of them throughout this first half for the Stormers. In fact, I don't think they could have done much better. Anger for the Spirit and Motley Crue. And everyone loved Dan Carter, Hamish, and I'm on my second bowl of stew noodles. Cheers, Roof, and on fantastic commentary, Hamish. Cheers, Blues Nate, thank you very much. And of course, thank you very much for having such a late night in Australia as well. Currently about 3 a.m, I think it is, for yourself. Looking through at some of the stats for this half, we saw 59% possession for the Stormers, 5 clean breaks compared to the 3 of Benetton, 10 defenders beaten compared to the 2 of Benetton there. Territory, 58% for the Stormers. Tackle completion, 88%. They have had like I said, a really strong game. 5 turnovers, 1. They've retained 4 kicks, and they've only conceded 4 penalties. So, yeah, it doesn't get much better than that. Dan Duplessis having the most running metres out of any player with 52. Most metres made for Benetton was actually Leonardo Marin. And then number of tackles, Sandy and also Bernasconi have both made 5 each. And Lelian Zas has a turnover as well. But the second half will not be a mile away from starting up, ladies and gents. Looking through at the way that the table sits, or sorry, not the table, the benches sit at the moment. We have already seen a couple of changes having to be made due to injuries, which did bring Rhino Smith on. No report of Damien Valimza returning as of yet, which is a bit of a concern for the Stormers if he has got some sort of concussion, something along those lines. They also do have Herschel Yankees, though, as the other back replacements. Now is there at 21. Evans, Schickerling, Brock Harris. He is on briefly due to the yellow card of Sunday after repeat infringements at scrum time. Matongo and JJ Kutsia, the other man off the bench. Saul Lamali as the number 16. Nema and Zalochi. Scott Scrafton and Sneyman. Now, I believe Sneyman has made his way on. Zuliani, he's still another option. And then, like I said, Smith is on, but Uden is not. So that's the way that it does sit. In terms of what is happening for the next round of the URC, while we are at it, the Sharks are playing the Ospreys. Now, this is happening in 14 days' time, or in fact, that one will now be 13 days' time. There is no URC next weekend. It is the Champions and Challenge Cup semi-finals. We will go quickly back to this, but first of all, these are the matches taking place next week. Leinster versus Northampton. That is the 4:30 a.m. kickoff for us here in New Zealand on Sunday morning. Bordeaux playing Toulouse. That is the other semi-final that is happening on Monday. And then Edinburgh Bath and Lyon Racing 92 as the 2 games of the Challenge Cup. But back to this one. Bulls are going to be playing Cardiff. There is the Irish Derby, of course, also happening on the Saturday between Munster and Ulster. Leinster versus Zebre. Stormers versus Dragons. And Lions and Scarlets actually going to be playing off on the Monday. So that will be the Sunday afternoon for you guys in South Africa at around 3 p.m. For us in New Zealand, it is the 1 a.m. start. Now, I do believe we will be covering that one on the channel as well. So if you guys are new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. I just want to thank you for commenting or commentating it, as you are for making it possible for blind and revision people to follow your commentary. Thank you once again, says the VI Tech Podcast. Thank you very much for being here. And yeah, it's pretty awesome that we've got so many different people from all around the world tuning into these live streams. And yeah, hopefully we're describing it not too badly as well for what is happening. Sometimes when we have a few stoppages, we go a little bit off track, but yeah, overall just a very entertaining first half, which is exactly what we needed after that Connacht versus Lions game. Like, I do think that the full 80 minutes of this contest will feel quicker than the 80 minutes of this one will feel quicker than half of the Lions and Connacht game. And then just as a bit more excitement on top of it, we've also got that match taking place around the corner between Ulster and the Sharks. So hopefully that will close out a good day of URC rugby. By the sounds of it, that Scarlets versus Leinster game is heating up for the second half too. So hopefully they will stay relatively close getting forward as well. But do let me know now, ladies and gentlemen. Not so much who you think will win, because I feel like at the moment we've got that almost confirmed. But score prediction. 30-0 at the moment for the Stormers. First of all, can they bring up the 50? And if so, how many points are they going to get? Other than Leinster, other overseas teams struggles big time, second week in Africa, says Eric. Much better than the ACC commentary, says Damo. And there as well. I see that they were advertising for someone to do the Super Rugby and maybe New Zealand versus France as a possible commentary position for them. Looks like a decent crowd at the moment at Cape Town Stadium for this one. And one-way traffic, 53-10, 66-0, says Sean. And for a side like Benetton, this is going to be a massive one that takes a big hit to the confidence. Heading back into their next games, we will quickly show exactly what they're going to be doing. 1 second. There we go. These are the next games for the side. So in 16 days' time, the Stormers are going to be taking on the Dragons. Then they've got Cardiff. So the team that have the opposite to that is actually the Bulls. They are going to be playing, I think it's Cardiff first, and then the Dragons second, I believe. And then in terms of Benetton, they've got Glasgow and Munster. So 2 pretty tough games to close out the competition for them. But, if they can get even just one win there, they should still be within the top 8. That's the other side of things to look at, though. If Glasgow beat Benetton and Munster beat Benetton, I don't know if 41 points is actually going to be enough to stay within the top 8. That Munster-Benetton game taking place in the last round, that might actually determine who keeps their spot within those top 8 sides, because 41-41, you got 40 there, 39, 38, 37, all those sides with a decent shot. The Lions, they've moved up to 35. Connacht are also still on the 35 too. Yeah, a couple wins could definitely make all the difference. Second half of this contest, I would say, is pretty close. A player of the first half for both sides, please. Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu, pretty safe bet for the Stormers in terms of how he was able to play. And then you'd probably have to say Thomas Gauchot, just because he forced Sunday off the field with a yellow card at scrum time. So it doesn't get much stronger than that in terms of what is expected of a prop. So, yeah, I'd probably go Gauchot as the other man. Hard to believe that this is Benetton that bet the Lions. Yeah, from week to week, we've said it the whole way through. Benetton can either be extremely dangerous or they just don't show up. And this is a game that is the perfect example of Benetton not showing up. But that is also because of how the Stormers have played. The Stormers took it to them right from the first moment of this contest, which is what they needed to do. Try and make them a little bit uncomfortable, put them under pressure. And it looks like now the two sides aren't too far from making their way back out onto the park. Thanks, Blues Nate, says Darlin there. And let's the second half just started, says Patrick, which does mean we're probably only about 2 minutes away from this half starting back up as well. I've noticed the halftime breaks today have just absolutely breezed by. So I don't know whether or not, or at least I don't think they're any shorter than normal, but I think we just start rambling and then all of a sudden it's the start of the next half. But yeah, the Stormers will once again be looking for a quick fire start here. Get that one try on the board so that they do walk away from this game with the 5 points rather than the 4. Benetton, I'm not sure what they can do here. They've already lost about 2 or 3 players because of injury. And, now they're probably just in that trying to stay slightly alive in this contest, trying to make it not too much of a hiding. But when it sits the way that it does, as you can see, Benetton's points differential is not ideal, but the thing that's helping them is the amount of wins that they've had. But Scarlets, Ulster, Stormers, Munster, they are all on 7 wins just behind them. So that could be a big factor looking forward as well. That's shocking. Benetton are better, aren't they? Well, they were last week. They have been in multiple of their other games where they've shown up. Very sharp Hamish with the stats after being awake for so long, says Hilton. And Scarlet's 4 tries, says Patrick. Yeah, we've almost, not quite. I think we're about 23, or in fact, a little bit more than that. We're about 24 3.5 hours awake at the moment. By the time the last game ends, we'll be closer to the 30 mark. Tiredness hasn't completely hit me yet, but I'm sure it will at some point. And Cape Town Stadium, my friend's husband Boris is watching closely. He's a Stormers fan. Says Roof and Stranger than Fiction indeed. Stormers are messing with Benetton, who whipped the Lions that beat the Stormers. Says Ruben. And they just showed during that first half as well, Benetton have scored 22 points, 22 points, and 20 points. And 2 out of those 3 games, they actually beat the Stormers. The one game that was slightly more one-sided, the Stormers did win. I think it was 38 points to 22. This game at the moment is not sitting too nicely at all for this Benetton side. Scarlet's 29-15. Tell you what, Leinster have to be very careful there, although I don't know how much they care about that game per se with the way that they sit. You know, they've got a little bit of a buffer, but I think they still would have liked to beat the Scarlets, who will now more than likely move into that top 8 by the end of the round. Jacob Umaga ready to kick this one off for Benetton. They were unable to score any points in that first half. Sandy still off the field for a little bit longer. Hamish, sometimes it's a huge disappointment or surprise. Says Ruth. Right, time is on and we are underway for the second half. In fact, what we normally do is the prediction in terms of when teams are going to score. And tell you what, that is a massive mistake off the start. I don't know why Nkura left that one. I think he tried to leave it so that he couldn't have a scrum against them. And now Benetton are going to score from it with Jacob Umaga. And just like that, 23 seconds in, Benetton have scored their first try of the match. Well, that was a big mistake from Stephen Nkura. I think he left it because he didn't want to give an offside penalty against them. But looking back at it, he'll be wishing he jumped on that ball as quickly as he physically could. Who was historically the strongest Wales club. I'll be completely honest with you. I'm not 100% sure. Ospreys have always been the one that I've thought of as the biggest team. But then I think Scarlets have still had some pretty decent results in the past. Jacob Umaga missing that kick. But that is going to make the score 30 points to 5. But what my question was going to be, ladies and gentlemen, before we saw that try scored, was what time on the clock, what minute are we going to see the Stormers scoring? Is it going to be soon? Maybe like 45, 50, 79. Maybe they wait till the last moment to get that bonus point try. But do let me know, what minute of the second half are the Stormers going to score in? And they have now retained their kickoff. So both sides have had a bit of a shaky start when receiving a kick. Warakalan. Oh, that is a cheeky pass. Acted like he was going to be passing it way out wide and then gave it to Sasha Feinberg. Ngomag Zulu right next to him. 55, says Patrick, for the next Stormers try. Stephen Nkura. Back across to the right. Emil van Heeren. In fact, that time it was Ruben van Heeren. I'll pick and go from Marcel Tennyson. Oh, I think he might have been held there, but he's going to keep going. He scores the try. I don't think they're even going to check that, and that is now going to be the bonus point for the Stormers. 2 minutes into the second half, 2 tries. Sasha will score in the next 7 minutes, says Albert. Yeah, Ruben van Heeren, the man who does cross the try line there. Oh, sorry, not Ruben van Heeren, Marcel Tennyson. They said he wasn't held in this one. We're going to see the replay now. Oh, it's a cheeky play there from Tennyson, but he is able to do it. 5:15 a.m. now. New Zealand time says 5:19, Hammy. 5:15 a.m. now. Time says 5:19, so I would assume it's 5:19 then. And well, 5 points finally, says Xander, but then another 5 coming the way of the Stormers. The kick is good from Sasha Feinberg Ngomaz Zulu, and the score sits 37 points to 5. The Stormers will do it in the next 10 minutes. If it was boxing, one could have asked the referee to stop the fight. Says Ruben Africa, and South Africa team's too strong, says Kobe. A terrible defence by both teams. No wonder they are not in top 4 of the log, says Eric. Yeah, not quite the start. The second half that either side were, well, both sides will be happy with their attack. in terms of what they were able to do. But at the same time, you just can't afford to be just letting that go as easily as they did, all those early tries in the half. Good news is both of them got them. See, I told you Sasha will score with conversion, says Albert. Oh, we have the hello guys, says Jaco, welcome in. Nicely taken from Sasha Feinberg. Ngume Zulu gets it away to Ruben van Heeren. Tell you what, all these tries being scored certainly make this game go fast. Pick and go from Marcel Tennyson. About 35 metres out from the line. So Netler has to play half. Goes now with the little chip of mine from Sasha Feinberg. Ngume Zulu, it sits up for him, but he misses the pass on the outside. And it does travel into touch. So it's going to be now a line out. Looked like referee having a little bit of a collision there with Niccolo Coloni. Both men trying to go in the same direction. So regards the breakdown Kiwi show. What is your thoughts on them calling URC a poor comp? Says one Pierre Bosch. We've already said it about 10 times throughout the weekend. But yeah, I think that Stephen Donald either hasn't been watching the URC and just looked at the Champions Cup highlights where where Leinster weren't conceding any points and scoring tries for fun, or he's been told to say it so that they stir up a bit of controversy and get exactly what people are doing now to happen, which is talk about the show so that they get more viewers. So either way, that it's still worked in terms of their viewership. They're going to have a lot more people watching than they did before, even if it's just interactions in the comments. People telling them they're idiots, that's still going to push them in the algorithm, which will get more rugby viewers for their show. So, marketing strategy-wise, strategic. Stephen Donald, unfortunately, just ended up being the guy who had to say it. Scarlets will choke in the end. Scarlets 29 to the 20 of Leinster. Yeah, it was a marketing tactic done very well, says Xander. Let's go the Stormers, says Funny Toxter. It looks like they are going to be lining up the 3 points here, sad marketing. Yep. But that's unfortunately, like I said earlier on as well, it's the reality of, currently, people don't like to hear the positive stuff. They prefer when they see negativity, because then negativity seems to get clicks. Didn't make me go watch this Code Puncher, but were you going to watch it anyway? Because if you weren't going to watch it anyway, I guess it's no different for them, but they've certainly had a spike in viewership and relevancy since bringing it up. Now, chance here to line it up for Sasha Feinberg. Ngume Zulu actually misses that one away to the side. His first miss of the day. Did also have a drop kick in that first half too. And yep, going to be hard, says Jaco. And also we have got their Scarlets will choke in the end. Oh, yellow card returning in Sharks versus Ulster, says Jaco. And we are going to be covering that one on the channel as well. AB should really consider allowing overseas players to be eligible. It was a massive positive thing for the Box. Showed trust from the management, says Long. And we have got there, Stephen Donald actually gave Rassi ammunition. He likes this kind of stuff based on the TV series Chasing the Sun. Yeah, I mean, if anyone enjoys a little bit of back and forth and the world of social media, it is Rassi. I think that anyone who's seen that man's Twitter account or his ex knows that, as an ex, as in Twitter, not his ex as in a ex-partner, knows that he loves that stuff. He's had times where he's just followed one team on Instagram or on Twitter just to prove a point that, he's watching everything they do. People react way more to negativity, sadly. Yeah, it's the sad reality. You could praise, let's say, for instance, if Stephen Donald in that scenario has said Geordie Barrett has been playing very well in a very good team, no one cares, unfortunately. Sad reality. Him saying Geordie Barrett's playing well in a good team in a competition that he feels isn't as strong as some competitions Geordie Barrett has been in, viral in the rugby world. It's the most talked about thing that's happened in the last probably month in the rugby setup. And let's go Stormers fan, starts hitting the likes, says Blues Nate. The Stormers win, says Andrew Smith. I do prefer South Africa, Australia, New Zealand in the old comp, but I also obviously understand this comp is better for time zones, says Xander. And plus, it's just a new challenge, 2 opportunities to walk away with silverware. In fact, you could say 3 if you count them going from the Champions Cup to the Challenge Cup. So for the South African sides, it's been an adjustment, but I do think that a lot of them have found this new competition to be rewarding. And bad rookie mistakes by Sasha. Did Stream score rugby once? No. Not really. Like, we can't really find South African schoolboy rugby here in New Zealand, and then the first 15 stuff's normally on Sky anyway here. And now, currently, the ball is in the hands of Benetton around the halfway line. Jacob Umanga now passing it across to one and Ashio Brex. This is actually, once again, going to be a very nice backline move for Benetton, and Ashio Mendy cuts back on the inside. That looked bad for Sasha Feinberg. Ngume Zulu went into the tackle a little bit high and might have taken a bit of a collision. He is now back up on his feet, though. 10 metres out from the line for Benetton again. Trying to get the turnover. Lost his footing for Andre Hugo Fenta. South African team's made URC better. Says Patrick. Now, 6 phases in. Alejandro Garbisi waiting for that ball. Now, Garbisi again goes off to one Inacio Brex, who tries the big drive forward. Benefits of URC is also we get to play Ireland and play French clubs in the Champions Cup. And plus the Curry Cup. Says Sean there too. Yeah, we used to do quite a bit of the Curry Cup. Then they stopped showing it in New Zealand, unfortunately. They made it a lot harder. Oh, it's bounced off the head of his teammate there for Benetton. So it would have actually been play on, and they could have had the chance of scoring, but now the Stormers looking for the counter-attack and chance. Warwick Land offloads it on the inside. Lelion Zas showing his pace, and then Nkura does kick the ball out. I think he wanted that one to stay in the field of play. If it had, could have been an almighty foot race for the Stormers. But yeah, Benetton with one, and Ashio Brex just passes it straight into the head of Tommaso Manoncello. He certainly was not supposed to get that pass, but Ignacio Brex said, here, have one to the skull. Still not a bad kick from Stephen Nkura. I know that he didn't want it to go into touch, but still a good territory gain. South African teams make more than look like. Says Spider Mick. What's the point of the Curry Cup? I never really followed it, just B-side teams. Pretty much the same as what Super Rugby and the Bunnings ZBC is in New Zealand. It's one of them is the kind of regional competition, and then the other is franchise rugby. So, yeah, pretty much the same as Bunnings ZBC with Wellington, Tasman, all those type of teams. Same can be said about the Curry Cup, and then you get into the franchise rugby like these teams of the URC. Now, nice spin there from Damien Willemse. And Curry Cup breeds young talent, says Albert. Now, less than 30 minutes remaining in this contest, sitting 37 points to 5, and a couple changes are being made. I see Ardre Smith, he will be making his way on. Scrafton also coming on for Kanoni, and I believe that is going to be JJ Klutzia. He comes on for Ruben, or in fact, no, sorry, it is Andre Hugo Fenta, who makes his way off. Now, the time has been turned off just for now. Bonus point is already on the cards for the Stormers, so all they need here is a win. And it looks like Salman Murat will make his way off. It's a bit of a round of applause from the crowd, and another change being made. That is Urin making his way on. And that is for Alejandro Garbisi. So both teams making quite a few changes in that time. Now line out throw here for Benetton. They've been able to claim it just inside of their own 22, and that was Seula Mai with the throw. Even Rassi explaining the importance of local Curry Cup as foundation of talent. Says Albert. Free, telling them to use it. So Urin already gets his first kick. And if you're a Western Province supporter, says Eric, nicely taken by Sinutla around the halfway line. And Bro 7, says Alistair Welcomen. Oh, looking for the offload there, and the ball has popped out. Kicked by Stephen Nkura, and now Warwick Lamp looking for a 50-22. Got a nice angle on it. Benetton do get back to cover with Leonardo Marin. It's come off the side of his boot. We have there, you don't want to follow Curry Cup. Says Eric, and how's it, Hamish? Sorry, I'm late at to work. Says Daryl, so hopefully work went all right for you. Currently, pretty one-sided game between these two sides, but we have still got another game just around the corner between the Sharks and Ulster. Game was done 30 minutes in. Yeah, but I still would take this one over the last game, the Lions versus Connacht. This one we've had a lot more tries, a lot less scrums. Yep, Curry Cup today is not URC, says Albert. And we have got Scarlets 32-22. And Albert, you reading my mind, mate? Says O'Brien in there too. But now the rolling maul for the Stormers. About 25 metres out from the line on this near side of the field. Stephen Nkura going in to get that one out. Now nice spin from Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu. Across to the left-hand side again. I do believe, I could be wrong here, but I don't think we've seen Damien Valimza. Has he returned to the field? I'm trying to work out whether or not he is in the midfield at the moment. Now, JJ Kotsia has joined that breakdown to keep it on their side. Okay, no, he has returned. He just dropped the ball, so that's where we can see him. So that is good that he passed his HIA. Little kick behind from Sasha Feinberg. Ngome Zulu, well controlled at the back. Although, Uren, it's going to go close to dead, and it's going to be a 5-metre scrum now. Oh, nah, that's a terrible tactic there from Benetton, who tried to pass it to their teammates inside of the in-goal area. Now, I believe this was first grounded by Benetton, but this would be an absolutely awful try to concede here. On-field decision is try. I just want to make sure that he is onside. Yeah, that was absolutely awful from Benetton there. Okay, on-field decision is try because he has got the grounding from the Stormers. And they just want to make sure that Uren's foot is not on the dead ball line here. But yeah, it was just I guess you could call it a scrambled mess. I can hear the noise. I'm living right next to the stadium. Says Davoti there. So we're going to see the replay from Sasha Feinberg and Ngome Zulu. First of all, going for that kick across field. That was fine. Then from there, they tried to go for the pass. Uren did almost knock that ball dead. Very close, but I think he stayed in the field of play. Doesn't ground it. And kids stop. Says Alistair. Oh, no, his foot was dead. So he's going to be saved. It's still going to be a 5-metre scrum for the Stormers, but it could have been a lot worse in that scenario. I've just said there the player is onside. It is taken back in goal, and then it was dead. Amora, about number 20, Box lock in South Africa now. All these Bulls locks passed them this year. And do you think Ulster will beat the Sharks? I think it's going to be a tough game for the Sharks team, but you know, they've got a stacked team once again, and they have got the ability of continuing to climb up the table. We have got there, bro, I've never seen ads on your feed like other channels. Are you setting for ads correct? Honestly, I don't even know. Some people seem to get ads, some don't. But it's not something that I watch extremely closely. I just turn on monetization, and that's it. If we get paid, we get paid. If we don't, it's not the complete end of the world. We have go there, that was diabolical. CSI, yeah, they almost gave away a pretty easy try. It came from a little bit of pressure from a kick and behind from Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu. And we have there, time to feed my rabbits, won't be long. Rabbits eat at 5:30 a.m. They are early morning risers, aren't they? Scrums won so far. We've seen Benetton won 6. Stormers have won 2. Here in South Sudan, 36, and it's the same time in South Africa. Says Brian, that's going to be a big push. Okay, referee once again is not happy. How old is Brock Harris? 1 million? I think he's like 43, isn't he? Brock Harris. Oh no, sorry, he's actually only 40. He's actually not that old compared to some of the players around. How old's Mornay Stain? I know that Mornay's not playing anymore, but yeah, he's 40 as well. 11th of July, 22nd of February. So Mornay is younger. Yeah, just. Hello, Amish dude. Says Jackals World, welcome in. And at which point is team emotionally just give up? Says Xander. I don't think Benetton are the type of side that would do that, though. Like, this isn't going to help because Monica Land's going to pass it on the outside, and Zas, he's held up. And it's going to be the goal line dropout. A big mistake from Zas there. Just not able to wriggle his way over. 39 Brock, says John. And at 40 and still playing, that's impressive. Says sighted. Yeah, just on the knee in the end and using his hand to get underneath it for Ignacio Mendy. We have got there, H, would you consider to join 2 Cent as a new panel for the breakdown show? I mean, I don't think they'd ever look at that side of things, like as in having guys from the New Zealand YouTube thing. Like, we've done stuff with Mark before, and I believe I'm going to be going on their podcast at some point. I'll have to fly up to Auckland to be able to make it happen, but yeah, hopefully at some stage in the future. Benetton slipping. Can they miss the playoffs? I have to play Glasgow and Munster last 2 rounds. Goodbye. It's going to be tough for them, that is for sure. They beat France by 1 point. The English ladies have won the Six Nations, and if it's only by 1 point as well, that would have been a really awesome game to close out the comp. Although I do think that, is that the last game today, or do they still have, who's the other game that would be taking place? I think that will be the last match of the comp though, won't it? Now Sasha Feinberg Ngume Zulu again will be kicking this ball into touch. Yankees has made his way on, and that is for Ngura, who has gone off. I'm just seeing it again for Lilian Zas. Just getting held up by half an inch. Italy versus Wales would be another game. And also Brock, a legend here. Munster looking good against Cardiff today despite losing, says Daryl. And yeah, those extra points, they can be the difference maker. Even if it's only a slim 1 point or maybe even 2 in some cases, that could be the difference between missing out on the quarters and making it now. Nice offload from Evan Ruiz going to Damian Willemse, back to Ruiz. By Sasha Feinberg Ngume Zulu. He's had a very good day off the kicking side of things. I don't know if played all already, or if played already. It's gone out. I think that they're not too happy with the angle on that one for Marin. Sasha Feinberg and Mezula showing what we have been missing. Says cited. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago that some people were saying that the Stormers, they didn't feel like they would be in the top 8. But I feel like this game in particular, and also the last couple, have shown that they're peaking at the right time. Okay, so Lamari at the moment, just describing it. The Stormers' only loss in their last 4 URC matches was 34 points to 38 to Ulster and Belfast in round 14. So they're on a bit of a streak with the exception of that contest. They'll be looking to continue to do just that all the way to the playoffs. Nicely taken inside of the 22 by or Dogwoo. And Munster will need to win, maybe bonus point. Oh, it's charged down. How do you charge down a mark? That just shows, oh no. Okay, not back 10. I was about to say, how does that happen? Stays a free kick. We see it there. Yeah, got there very quickly for De Villiers. And Italy versus Wales ladies would have been played earlier today, but it's been pushed to tomorrow, says Richard. See, I feel like that England versus France game would have been a perfect way to close out the Six Nations, wouldn't it? So hopefully that game between Wales and Italy does still manage to deliver. Now, oh, Zas, what an offload, or what a bump off, I should say that is. He's just passed the ball into touch. Absolutely no one on that short side. Looks like Benetton have decided to play this one quickly. We'll now look to attack from just inside of their 22. Running it forward as Marin passes on the outside to Ignacio Mendy. Another offload. Finds Saula May. Got a lot of pace for a big man. Offloaded up. Mikel Lamaro decides he wants to play it. That's knocked on by Vernon Matongo. Back to the halfway line. Money practicing kicks past 3 months. They said he's been getting one over from right in front. He will be selected again. He is getting closer each week. Says Eric and Wooden Spoon match. Says Patrick now. Grub it in behind. And, making that one a little bit harder than it needed to be for Warwick Land. Does get it out, but not a huge amount of distance made off it. 22 metres from the line. Now Benetton will have the line out. Now we have got there 3 South African teams in the playoffs would be impressive. Says Jackal's World. I think it was 2 last year, wasn't it? The Lions just very narrowly missing out after not quite getting all the points that they required. But, yeah, it's an interesting one. I feel like they like having 3, of course, you're going to be liking the odds of being able to go on and at least have one side through to the semi, if not more. All right, we will go like that. We will go like that as well. Just checking to see who was off the bench here for Benetton. Maoli is there as the number 16. Chakabumanga now hitting the ball up 20 metres out from the try line. Benetton have given up. I actually would disagree. I think that they're still trying. In fact, they've probably looked better in the last 10 minutes than they have throughout the rest of the game. Like, they're actually looking aggressive here. Trying to get the ball out the back. Uren going across to the right-hand side. That is to Manuel Zuliani. Happened to be in Glasgow at the Arc Pub when Glasgow won. URC atmosphere was amazing. So here's Patrick. Now Uren again going across field. Stormers looking to defend. Would like to only concede their 1 try in the match if they can avoid it. That is going to be the forward pass from Juan Inacio Brex. And if it wasn't, it was going to be the try out wide for Dogwoo. So just those little moments making the difference at the moment for them. Are 3 South African teams end in the top 4? I don't think so. Like, I do think that 2 in the top 4 is much more realistic at the moment. We've got to remember the Stormers are only on 40 points. Out of this game, they will be on 45, which would mean for them to get into the top 4, they would really, like Glasgow, the only way for 3 sides in the top 4 would be to knock them out, unless you're talking semi-finals, which might be what you're saying. And then in that case, I mean, it would certainly be impressive if that was how it worked out. Referee just discussing which side he is going to be staying on in terms of those scrums, which we are going to get another one here. There's a few drinks being run onto the park. Players fatigued from the pace that it's been played. He had over 100 kicking metres so far for Damien Valimza. And also the top 5, says one Pierre Bosch. Top 5's possible. And Benetton has just 1 mission left. Keep Glasgow from a bonus point in 2 weeks, says Eric. Would certainly be doing the Bulls a big favour. Crowd attendance is 18,474 for this matchup, ladies and gentlemen, for anyone who was wondering about the attendance numbers. But now, ready again for another scrum, and that's going to be the penalty, or in fact, sorry, free kick going the way of Benetton. So they've had that a fair amount so far. Now a big attack and run from Zuliani. And also, I meant top 8. But after that, maybe the Bulls, says Juckles World. And also we have got their team 7th and 8th should play for 7th place. 9th and 10th play for 8th place. Says Blues Nate. And attendance poor. The thing is, though, like, it might actually end up that way. Because in the last round, we've mentioned about some of those matches that are happening. The likes of, where is it, Munster versus Benetton. I believe that will be a playoff game to see who goes into the top 8. I think that Edinburgh-Ulster could also be a match of that same situation. Got to run again. And also, hate how works gets in the way of the rugby. Thanks a million, Hamish. Enjoy the game, lads. Says Daryl. So thank you very much for popping in. Hopefully work flies by for the rest of the day. Now Damien Valimza is going to go for goal line dropout. Looks like Saul just currently holding his jaw, so I'm not too sure whether or not that was a hit to the jaw or whether that was maybe just a collision somewhere along the lines. I'm going to see the replay here. Oh. Okay. TMO check. I think it was Damien Valimza's shot on him. Gets him maybe on the jaw. And it was actually when he got a shot to the back, his jaw kind of rumbled. Or slightly, he does get hit hard there. And then that extra shot kind of pushes it away to the side. Doesn't look too flash for him. Stormers carving. Says Nas. 24 appearances for Saulama'i for the Tongan international team. Looks like he's going to try and continue in this match. Damien Valimza very quiet since returning from injury. Maybe still a niggle. I mean, he did have an HIA call earlier on. You know, it is shoulder on head. There's a little bit of a duck, but consistency-wise, we might see that as a yellow card if that is how they do decide to judge it. Okay, there, well, Daryl, put bread on the table, bro. Says Spider-Meg. I decided to be a good husband and give my wife half my winnings from my football bet. Well, normally, what's yours is hers anyway, isn't it? Right, they have head contact. It is foul play. Oh, referee pulling the finger. Didn't mean to, but he went this one, and then he put both of those down and left this one up. So, yeah. But it is going to be a yellow card for Damien Valimza. So he has been far from his best in this contest. The Golden Oldie Springbok Games with Strauss as captain, who grabbed the captain's balls that made him see red. Get up to kill the man, says Juan Pierre Bosch. Never say when you win, says Patrick. And Ice Valimza gets a 10-minute break, says Cited, and still only 17 minutes remaining in this matchup. Looks like the scrum is going to be called. Last 5 penalties. We have seen 3 of which go against Benetton, but that one is against the Stormers. Benetton have about 16 minutes to score 3 times to get out of this game with some sort of points. And main game coming up after this, Sharks for Life. See that, and we are going to be covering that one on the channel as well, starting in around 45 minutes time for the kickoff of that contest. It will be a little bit of a short break, about 20 minutes in between the 2 streams. And then we will be, of course, straight back underway. Now, Uren got to put the ball in. Big push from the Stormers. They've pushed them back big time, but the ball does rumble out, which does mean now that they are able to keep it, although knocked backwards again by Benetton. Trying to get in there was Sanatla, but he lost his footing. Had the main game coming up. And I thought I saw a Wairua. How's it going, says the Blues, Nate? Now back across to the left here. Benetton still trying to break their way through. Kanoni pops it up now. Oh, interception claimed by Lelion Zas. The ankle tap is unsuccessful, and he will run the full length of the field and score the try. And that is not what Benetton wanted. That is the 7th try now scored by the Stormers in this match. As Gus says, I had to say it that way or else it wasn't going to rhyme, was it? And a long time no see, Naz. Are you well, Fanos? Says a Blues, Nate, but Lelion Zas gets himself... Oh, hang on. I heard the ref say okay. I assume that it's just clearing it up with the TMO. So we had a lot of meters to make there, Lelion Zas, to be able to finish the job. And blows a kiss to the crowd too. And Gusman and Bet says Albert. And Try says Juan Pierre Bosch. And also, damn, I missed the whole game, says Roger. Well, the good news is there is still another game just around the corner. And that is going to be happening between the Sharks and Ulster. Kicking off in 45 minutes time, like I said. We are going to be having about 10 minutes of build-up for that matchup. Stormers are deadly. Says Dominic, yeah, they're firing on all cylinders today. And how does Sasha go? He had a very good first half. Disappeared a little bit in the second, but yeah, having some absolutely brilliant moments throughout the first. Nailing a drop kick too. Good defense by the Stormers, leading to a try for them. Glasgow going to murder this, Benetton team. And looks like another stoppage here. I'm trying to work out who that is on the ground. Oh. Yeah, Uren O. That's bad for Andy Uren. Looks like his ankle may have actually snapped off. Which is not ideal, so they will need the stretcher. Or looks like they're having a bit of a debate of whether or not to use it here. I'm a Lions supporter, but they cancelled, they cancelled, just never get to that point of winning culture. So for now, I will support Bulls and the Stormers. Says Jackals World and reckon it will hit 50. I think that they've got a pretty decent chance at the moment. One more try converted would definitely not be out of the question for the way that the Stormers side have been going. But, Yeah, it definitely isn't the performance that the Benetton side were after. Just scoring the one try after being able to score similar to the amount of points that the Stormers have got here. They scored that many roughly last week up against the Lions, side that just got themselves a win over Connacht. So, yeah, it's certainly gone from bad to worse in terms of not just getting beaten badly, but losing about 3 or 4 players to injury too. But they are just trying to get Uren off the field. So I believe that means that Alejandro Garbisi will have to make his way back out there onto the park. A lot of supporters in the stands. I believe they said 18,000 earlier on. And yeah, he has now gone on to the stretch. He's got the green whistle, which is normally a sign that something is either broken or very badly hurt. And 45 or 44-5, Benetton still has time. Says Xander. Yeah, still 15 minutes remaining. They can find themselves 1 or 2 more tries somewhere along the lines here. In fact, if they manage to find themselves 3 tries, they would actually move into a position of getting a bonus point. But it's still a little way away. And they'll need to find some sort of momentum here first. Sounds like Reno Smith is now back onto the field. So he's actually going to be playing maybe halfback in the scenario. All nicely taken by Reno Smith. And a 2-man tag on him. That looked a little bit high. Looked like he was trying to give him the rock bottom. Now, Lamaro goes short side. And back up to his feet. Bouncing back up was Mendy. Now Smith goes across to Halafihi. Smith again. Going off to this left-hand side. Jacob Umunga. Wide cut-out pass. Ciabello Sinatla. Or Ciabello Sinatla, I should say. Losing the footing there and the breakdown for the Stormers. And thanks for the liquor commentary. Says John, no worries at all. We are going to be back for the next one. We'll be watching the Eubank Junior versus Ben fight tonight. Says Roger. Do you know what time it's happening, Roger, in terms of like how many hours from now that one's taken place? Because I think there are a few... Oh, it's a big shot on Evan Ruiz. Looked a little bit high if we're being honest, but there's going to be the knock on. Right, Evan Ruiz straight away going to the ref like this. He's saying, check that thing because that hit me high. He's definitely upright. Says the ref there too. Benetton only play for pride. Says Spider-Mick. Oh, the bookend in WCW, Paul Benetton. Anyway, that's life, says Ruth. Yeah, we're going to see it now. Oh, yep, shoulder to head. And if that one of Damian Valimza was a yellow card, I believe this one will be too. Which is the last thing that the Benetton side will want. Definitely when they are still trying to find their way over the try line for a second time. And we have got there, enjoys Ruth. Says Blues Nate there too. Yeah, shoulder to chin. And Scarlet scrum Leinster 5 metres back. Ref gives Leinster penalty. What's the score in that game currently? In fact, we'll have a quick look. 32-22 still for the Scarlets. It's a good lead to have. And Stormers don't have to worry. Cat's in the bag. Says Ruth. Now just talking about the potential head contact here between the two players. By the sounds of it, the ref's thinking this is only going to be a penalty, but that is chin to shoulder first. Oh, we have there Eubank Junior and Ben will finally take their war of words to the ring. It's main event on April 26th on Sky Sports box office at 5 p.m. 5 p.m. UK time? Because if that's 5 p.m. UK time, then that would have already happened, or at least the main card must have started, you would assume. Eubank versus Ben, Nepo kids living off daddy's name, but they'll sure be making some big money for it. A lot bigger than that 150. And now, ready to kick this one towards the touchline for Sasha Feinberg, Ngume Zulu, and still rocking the water car vodka shot. So yeah, it is a yellow card. Benetton will be playing with 14, just like the Stormers, for the next 10 minutes. Ben who? So Connor Ben is the one that they are talking about, not Benetton, but yeah, Connor Ben. Might have been around 10 to 11 p.m. UK, so that will be about maybe 8 a.m., 9 a.m. New Zealand time. So it might happen before the end of that Sharks-Ulster match now. Losing his footing there, gets the ball away, and there is the knock-on from Blue. So it is going to be another scrum feed here. Oh, time for spotting, guys. So yeah, it will be Connor Ben versus Chris Eubank Jr. And then, I believe the UFC starts at about 10 a.m. by the looks of it. So that will be... I should sleep at some point, but there's so much stuff on, isn't there? Leinster player do a classic Roos leopard crawl to score a try and got penalised. Very strange call by the ref. Says Eric, and Eubank smashed my friend Gary O'Sullivan years ago. Says Patrick. And also, nice Stormers will hit 50, says Bhavani. Yeah, they've still got the 11 and a half minutes to be able to do so. I feel like, once again, at this point, we know who is going to win this match. It's more so by how much, and if Benetton can get back into it. Vegas this weekend missed all rugby, says Bhavani. We've seen 7 scrums won by Benetton. And that one's pretty even, although this time, the Stormers get the penalty, but Brock Harris has stayed down, and it looks like maybe some sort of knee injury here. That does not look good, although I don't know what's happened to him here, whether or not maybe he's holding his face, or whether he's just trying to deal with the pain. Not just stuff on, but stuff up, says Toby. And also, any additional bonus points for getting 50 points? None at all. But Brock Harris, he looks in a lot of discomfort at the moment. I'm not sure what happened, but everyone in the scrum kind of went down and twisted around. So it honestly could be anything from a knee to a groin to a hip. We're going to see the replay here. Yeah, looks like maybe left knee. That first initial grip from Brock Harris afterwards was to grab at his knee. This might be bad for him. Brock Rolf Harris, says Toby Hart, and this might be another stretcher, ladies and gentlemen. We've already had multiple of them throughout the last 2 games that we've covered. We've probably seen 10 to 12 injuries throughout that time, but the stretcher is making its way out there. Brock Harris is going to try and walk it off, but he will walk over to the stretcher. He is a tough individual, that is for sure. And he said, I don't want the stretcher. I'm walking the whole way across this field. And 6 a.m. for you. No sleep, no more, or one more game, says Robert. Now, of course, the next game is at 6:35. So we will be covering that one on the channel too. At least he doesn't need the buggy, says Sighted. Hamish needs to have a braai, steak, lamb chops, and baked potato, says Ruth. Right, the time is back on. Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu will again have the chance of being able to kick this one into touch. It's going to be a 5-metre line out. We normally don't see the old man Brock Harris playing for almost 50 minutes, says Vaughan. And a round of applause for Brock as he makes his way off the field. JJ Coetzee throwing that one in quickly, and now the rolling ball is moving forward, and they score that one. De Villiers, the man who pops up with it, and that will give now the chance for the Storm to bring up their 50. That is actually De Villiers' first try as well that we have seen. And we they enjoy your sausage, Ruth, don't choke. And also from Abu Bakr, hopefully I've said that correctly. He is either not happy with the result or not happy with the fact that he can't see the game. It will be one of the two, probably the second. But the rolling maul there from the Stormers just breaking away. And Brock wanted an early braai break. I'm going to cheers, folks. Take care, says Ruth. Mate, half century, says Naz. And there, yeah, it's been a dominant game from the Stormers here. We've got Johan in the chat too. And Amish's Nana asked about his Wahine. Nana been rocking up in the chat, gangster, says Blues Note. He does miss it away, so it means that the 50 points are not here just yet. And P-bomb's flying already, says Xander. Yeah, De Villiers slamming his head on top of the ball when he scored it. And Oosh Blues Says Anaz. And there as well. But currently, the way that the table sits, the Stormers would be in 6th with their points differential of plus 36. Still, of course, that Ulster versus Sharks game to come. Okay, first knock on. Scrum for Benetton now. Another 9 minutes, but 90 seconds remaining of the Stormers' yellow card. Benetton still have, I believe it is 6 minutes remaining of theirs. I just saying there that Glasgow have a home game next up against Benetton. Where's everyone from? And Stormers are leaking forwards. Says Abu. Oh, so was that for Brock Harris's injury that you had the swear word? Because, yeah, it is a shame because we've seen a lot of injuries picked up. Like, at the moment, they're down to probably like their, 3rd, 4th, maybe choice props with the amount of injuries that they've picked up already. And that is something that could actually really hurt them in the important games. Benetton were able to get themselves about 3 or 4 scrum penalties already. That one's nicely picked up off the back for Low now. And if only Stormers can perform like this when they play overseas, they're home team only, and Chat is 90% South African, I think, says Xander. But to be fair, it's 6 a.m. here in New Zealand on a Sunday morning, so I don't think many people from New Zealand have got up early for this one. We might see a few more popping in for that Ulster versus Sharks match, which isn't too far away. Ex-roadie, watching from England, Stormers rules, says Code Puncher, and Xander Irish, says Patrick. And there as well, so we have now got ourselves another scrum. Getting a fair share of those near the end of this matchup. And every time that one happens, it uses up a little bit of extra time off those yellow cards. I believe the next stoppage will actually bring another man onto the field for the Stormers. They'll be back to their 15. And your boy Aotearoa all day. And South Africa says Johan there. Now Rhino Smith to put that ball into the scrum, holding strong this time for Benetton. And I think they wanted the advantage. They never got it, and it's a knock-on now from Smith, which means the scrum feed now for the Stormers. South African brother-in-law from Durban, says Patrick. 6.5 minutes left. Aliens the F team going to lose, says Eric. Yeah, they haven't got much time left at all, do they? Currently 78 minutes in, 32 points to 22. That's a bit of a, it's a weird one to think about, isn't it? Because, for instance, we look at the table, right? That win for the Scarlets more than likely puts them to probably 8th in the standings, maybe a little bit higher, in fact. So have Leinster, I don't know, have they decided maybe they'll face the Scarlets in the quarterfinals? Could be the case. But, yeah, I think it's more so they're just concentrated on the Champions Cup taking place next week. We have got their Leinster as losing, says Dominic. They certainly are, although they got a very different team to what we're used to seeing. Sasha Feinberg and Ngome Zulu running it forward. Almost ran into Herschel Yankees. Another fin there from the South African 10. Reno Smith, though, gets back and cleans him up. In fact, it was Halafihi who got the turnover. And A to the A, Aotearoa, let's go. And Benetton 6th and losing 45 or 49 points to 5. That is correct. Same Benetton team that won last week up against the Lions by about 11 points. So definitely has been a week and a half in terms of the difference that the week can make. Limbs are just trying to shift that one and then did pass it into touch. Going to have a custard pie and cream donut for Brecky, Hamish. That's quite the breakfast. And 80 seconds, says Patrick. Yeah, so I don't think Leinster are going to be able to get themselves the win. They may get the bonus point if they score late, but Scarlets will be thanking them big time for that one. Now ready to throw this ball in. Seeing as Seola Mai went off with the HIA, it means that Bautista Bernasconi is going to have the line-out duties. I think the Scarlets did win Heineken's Cup some years ago, last Wales team to do so. Yeah, I think it was, I had all the teams a while ago. I think they won it more than once, didn't they? The Champions Cup. Now going off to the right-hand side, Sasha Weinberg and Zulu tries to kick, and it does bounce off the foot and goes into touch. This is prime Stormers, says Dominique. Yeah, what's going to be the extent of that injury list? That's probably the big question at the moment. What is their side going to look like heading into the playoffs? I think Leinster should sack Cullen. Do you? They're currently, winning a lot of games. Yes, they lost this game, but that's because they've gone with a makeshift team so that they can be focused for the Champions Cup, in which their last 2 games, they have gone 114-0 and have gone in that Champions Cup a very long time without conceding a try. Maybe players don't have enough rest in 1 week. Any rugby players here that can tell us if 1 week is enough rest between games, says Xander. Well, the thing is, it would be all right if they didn't have training as well, because then, of course, they've still got tactics training, everything that they're doing during the week. So if you've got a little bit of an injury, you're certainly still feeling it the week after. I'm going by history, the last few seasons, says Sean. Okay, well, currently they're doing pretty well. So I feel like it's probably not the best time to sack the coach when they're looking about as strong as they ever have. Now 3 minutes remaining. Be ready to feed this ball in for Herschel Yankees. Scrums 1 so far for Benetton, 8. They've lost 2 scrums though. Now ball is going to be put in. Herschel Yankees. Looked like he was going to be leaving it for Evan Ruiz, but instead they have got themselves the penalty advantage. So Yankees with the massive wide slinging pass out to Sinetler. Tries the offload. Ball goes into touch again. The Saints go marching in against Leinster. Then Cullen gone. Says Eric. And Custard Pie sounds heavenly. Says Albert. So that is going to be a collapsing scrum penalty. I mean, the Stormers could take the easy 3 if they wanted to use up a bit more time, try and avoid an injury. But I think they are going to be going for the scrum instead here. Oh, in fact, they had a second one for offside rather than just the collapsed scrum, which does mean that it's straight out in front of the post. So Ulamai will make his way back on, and it does actually look like the scrum will be the option that they go with. I'd say that that's just to try and get that penalty advantage again in their favour. Scrums have been really interesting this game, though, because we've kind of seen it go from, even though Benetton were getting the penalties, I don't think they were that dominant at the scrums. And then now the Stormers are starting to get a lot more advantages in their favour, 35 points to 22. Scarlet's full time. And the Stormer side is full of fire at the moment, splitting Benetton at will. Says sighted. Now ready to go for the scrum again. Just the 90 seconds remaining on the clock. Away having to coach Peter de Villiers, aka Snore. Oh, no, another advantage. Evan Ruiz, short ball to Sasha Feinberg. Ngomezulu. And he will get another try there. Evan Ruiz having a bit of a conversation with him. Obviously a tactic that those two had talked about. The shot clock will mean that we still get one last play in this half. But 50 plus points on the board now for the Stormers. This has been far from Benetton's best performance, but it has been certainly close to one of the Stormers' best. They will still have time for the restart, as they've just said. Speaking of restarts, in about 25 minutes, we get to do it all again. Another live stream taking place between the Sharks and Ulster. So anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe. We are starting that one at 6:25 a.m. New Zealand time. So that's about 17 minutes before we start that one. That kick has gone over from Sasha Feinberg, Ngumea Zulu, and Ulster game on Nets Free View. Says Patrick. And he's in jail, Snore. Says John. But now just the one last kick. A 50-plus score is a disgrace. Says Xander. It certainly hasn't been Benetton's best. They've gone 1-1 from their games in South Africa. They've kicked it off short. Doesn't quite travel the 10. Now it actually has. Oh no, played by Benetton, so they'll go back for the scrum on the halfway line, which does mean the Stormers still will have one last chance getting something going. Hemi, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. See you guys next live stream, I hope. Says Spider Mick there too. And we see there the Stormers coaches, even though they've won this game comfortably, they don't look particularly on it. Now there's a smile on the face. A massive scoreline tonight. Cheers, Stormers. Says Blues, Nate. I mean, that last game between the Lions and Connacht, we did say that this next game we wanted to see tries, and and we have, except they've just mostly been to one team rather than both. Congrats, Stormers and Scarlets, two shocking but good victories. Says Eric, and what's your prediction for the 6th of September at Eden Park? Says Goodman. Very hard to say at this point. We don't know the squads. We don't know who's going to be in and out with injuries. All I'm going to say is if the URC teams continue this way, and same with Super Rugby, we're going to have like 15 guys on the injury list for both teams. Now, Evan Russ goes across there to Watercalant. Looking for the pass across, and that one is going to be knocked on by Sasha Feinberg, Ngome Zulu. Still one last chance for Benetton, which I think at this point they might just be better putting the ball out, accepting the loss. Trying to get in there was Davila. Scarlets one great game. Don't know how much about a VPN, but Irish TV shows URC and Champions League football for free. Here's there's been plenty of tries tonight. Hamish says Blues Nate. Now Dogwoo trying to work it out. They're only 5 metres out from their own line here. They are under knock-on advantage. Just wonder whether or not now is the time just to get rid of it. Jacob Umaga going to try the kick. It's going to be a bit of a nothing one, and now gives the Stormers another attacking chance. Watercalant, I thought for a second, was going to set up for the box kick. Damien Valimza, did he drop that ball? He might have. Jacob Umaga picks it up and sits Valimza down. A 50-plus score today was a 30-plus score back in the day. Love the old game, but today's rugby is much more entertaining, says Stephen. Now attack and run from Mendy down the wing. Nice quick stepping from him. Got his offload away. That's a forward pass. And that will be the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen. 56 points to 5. A very impressive victory for the Stormers. They move up to 6th on the overall standings, which I believe there is a good chance that is where they will remain at the end of this round. But the next game that has taken place, it is going to be kicking off in only 25 minutes time, but we are starting in 15 minutes. So anyone who is new, of course, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and we will see you all for the next one.